What is the problem between Thuli Madonsela and Busisiwe Mkhwebane? What does the state of capture report mean to Public Protector Mkhwebane? Do South Africans have confidence in the office of the Public Protector? Why has Advocate Mkhwebane laid criminal charges over the leaking of the Absa report? What time is it? It's question time. Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Mpho Tsedu. Marking her 100 days in office earlier this year, Advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane admitted to not having had the best start to a term as Public Protector. She, however, assured the public that she will enforce remedial actions recommended by her office. Mkhwebane assumed office in October last year after political parties except the Democratic Alliance supported her nomination. Meanwhile, the public is watching closely on how the Public Protector will deal with a number of pending issues. Amongst others, they include the State of Capture Report, the United Kingdom agency's CIEX Report on Absa Bank's Apartheid-era bailout, and Advocate Thuli Madonsela's recent offer to pay for damages on her state-issued vehicle. Now, on Question Time today, we host Public Protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane, and she is my guest. Pipi, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mr. Tsedu, and
you can call me Mpho, it's fine.
Okay.
What's the problem between you and Thuli Madonsela?
There's no problem.
Well, if the media and Twitter is anything to go by, what you're telling me is not true.
What I'm telling you, you're hearing it from the horse's mouth. There's no problem. I think it's sensationalization by the media, and unfortunately, it's not the case. I don't have any problem with my predecessor, Ms. Madonsela.
Is she being allowed to rule from the grave?
You can ask her that question. I can't answer that, but yeah.
All right. You arrived at a time when everybody heaping praises, including the EFF, who have now seemed to have decided otherwise, calling you some unsavory names, and wondering what happened to that Busi.
The Busi South Africans voted. In fact, you remember on Twitter, South Africans were given an opportunity to vote. It's the same Busi which South Africans saw during my interview. Nothing has changed, and I'm still the Busisiwe who will be serving the South African public, serving them without fear or favor, and having allegiance to the Constitution and the rule of law. So, for South Africans, let them be rest assured that the Busisiwe they saw then is still the same Busisiwe.
So, you are not a Zuma person?
I'm not a Zuma person. I'm not a Gupta puppet or in the Gupta kitchen, but I'm here to do my job. I'm here to serve South Africans. So I wouldn't entertain those. It's people's perceptions. If they drew those conclusions, I can't answer for them. But what I can say to South Africans, I'm not a Zuma person.
Would you have preferred to arrive at a different time when there was no state of capture report?
No, that's the best time to arrive. I don't regret the time I've arrived. So I'm ready to finalize that report. In fact, it was finalized. It's just that is before court for judicial review.
But you seem to be holding some different views from your predecessor.
I don't hold any different views. I think originally when the report, yes, I remember people were saying, why am I not also opposing the release. In fact, that the president was saying, let the report not be released. But the thing is, it was an issue of abiding by what they agreed on before. Remember, they agreed to preserve the report.
Yes.
So I was keeping the report under lock and key. And I must say to South Africans that during that time, the office assisted the court with certain information to make sure that the court has a background to this particular matter. So fortunately, it was withdrawn, the application, and the report was released. And hence I said, after the release of the report, I said that is the property of the institution. Therefore, whether I was there or not, the investigators who did the investigator who did the matter is still there, and then we'll continue with the matter.
You are a lawyer. I'm a political scientist. So let's look at some technicalities here. You are quoted as having said you don't agree with the fact that the public protector said a particular judge or head would have to be appointed not by the president to deal with. I mean, I think to quote it verbatim, I think they were saying what the judge, the chief justice must yes, Mkhwebane must appoint. Well, a lot of people were wondering, what kind of a pronouncement is this? Why should it be even, specific as to who should appoint the leading person in that case? You seem to share that idea.
I'm glad that you asked that question, and I'm glad to South Africans who are listening to say, and I even said it, that it's the Sunday Times story.
Yeah.
So hear my story, that it was during the deliberations, and I said to Sunday Times, the matter, I'm waiting for the legal opinion, because it was an issue of saying with my legal team, let's make sure that when we oppose and we have evidence, or we have a winnable case.
Yes.
And then they were asking, what is the president reviewing in that particular report?
Yes.
And I was saying, they're finding that the judge must be appointed by Chief Justice Mkhwebane should be set aside, and then the current public protector must continue with the investigation. So it was during those deliberations to say which direction we will be taking. And I said, we oppose the matter to comply to the court rules. But then, when we deliberated on this particular finding, we were saying there's no legal precedence, especially on this matter where the president is instructed to do his job according to the Constitution. So it was during the deliberations, and I must say I've received the legal opinion, but I won't say anything about it. On Monday I'm meeting my legal team, and then I will pronounce which direction we are taking.
So, are you not going to tell us whether you are challenging that or you are supporting it?
What I can say is that whatever direction we are taking, we will be sharing the legal opinion with the court. Again, assisting the court to come to a decision which is well supported by the said evidence, and that legal opinion will be in the public domain, so everyone will read for themselves, and it has been written by very experienced senior counsels.
Well, if it happens to be in favor of what those supporting President Zuma wanted, no matter how sound it may be, the perception is going to persist.
I know, but the fact of the matter is, our democracy is so matured in the sense that we have very independent judicial system or judiciary, and the courts are there to interpret the law. Okay. So whatever we are bringing forth, whether I'll be opposing or not opposing, the court will then make a finding to say whether the public protector was within her powers. Okay. I was not ultra vires, or I was not over my powers by making that finding. So it's my finding, and I'm owning up to it. And as I said, it's my report.
And you will protect it.
And I will protect it, yes.
Talking about the judiciary, the EFF are saying actually we must review the public protector. We've made a mistake. This is not our lady. They want to take you through, I guess, what? Are you subjected to the Judicial Service Commission yourself?
No.
Not there.
I'm reporting to the National Assembly.
So I don't know where they're going to take it, but they are probably going to take it somewhere, because they say you are a spy, and therefore the spy cannot be running the public protector's office. Are you a spy?
I'm not a spy, and I indicated that I will be taking the matter further. I'm still busy with finding time to sit down with my legal team to deal with that matter. But then I'm not a spy, and I've given the Democratic Alliance enough time to come forth with evidence. And I was serving my country as a counselor immigration from the Department of Home Affairs when I was in China. So I don't know where do they get that information. But then on what the EFF is saying, I won't comment on. I think you better find out from them what further steps they will be taking.
But are you not bothered? Did the explanation that Julius gave to the media make sense to you? Saying you cannot work as an administrator in a spook organization if you are not a spook. So I'll ask again, are you a spook?
I'm not a spy, and I was never a spy. I worked for State Security Agency for 3 months from July. And State Security Agency is a state institution provided for in terms of the Constitution. They are there to protect the sovereignty of the country.
Correct.
So people who are serving at the State Security Agency are there as any other employee of the state.
So
and they are apolitical.
3 months.
Ufela 3 months.
The CIEX report. Talk to us about it. What's happening there?
It's still under investigation. I must indicate that my predecessor has conducted a very detailed investigation. She interviewed several people on the matter, and that provisional report, it's compiled in terms of Section 7(9) of the Public Protector Act, where we're giving people who are implicated in a way an opportunity to give us more information, to hear their side of the story. So unfortunately, that report was leaked, and I indicated that it's part of the investigation, and it might come back different drastically because we are waiting for the comments from Absa, Reserve Bank, and the Presidency and National Treasury.
But the world is already, on its feet because of that preliminary report. I mean, Absa is bombarded. Pay back the money. Last week, ANC Youth League mobilized thousands of young people to go to Absa on the basis of this report. Are you not bothered?
I must say, I've indicated, and I'm still indicating, that can you give us some time to investigate, because we've given the parties until the 28th of February to respond. And there's no use for you to go out there and march when the report is still not yet finalized. So I think if they are doing it as ANC Youth League because of what they are intending to be doing in their in their work. But then I will urge again to say, let's finalize the report before you can go out there and do anything.
But do you blame them to act on the basis of this preliminaries? Things are leaking from your office. Well, reports.
Yeah, reports are leaking, hence I've opened a case. Well, in the past, no cases were opened. So this time I'm saying we'll work with the police. Let's investigate the source of the leak. But then we're working very closely with our IT and our security guys to make sure that we put systems in place to deal with this particular leakage. And again, we will be conducting awareness campaign to our staff to say if the information is still at that stage, leaking it is not proper, because again, in terms of Section 7.2 of our Act, availing any information which is part of or evidence of the investigation, I mean, it's a criminal offense. So hence, we will be investigating, and I hope that will be finalized soon.
Then there's Thuli Madonsela's child's case, which somehow comes back, to your office. Thuli, this money that was supposed to be paid back by herself, and she then started blowing it, blaming people here and there and all that. There's a call from some quarters saying you must investigate if there was any defeating the ends of justice by your predecessor. Are you on the matter?
I think defeating the ends of justice, then it's another. It's a criminal matter. Yes, and that should be investigated by the police. We don't investigate criminal matters. So on this particular matter, we dealt with the matter, in fact, through our accounting officer, the chief executive officer, and the chief financial officer. They were dealing with the matter because then we had to pay out the gratuity. And remember, in any state institution, if you have to leave, we need to then take stock of what is pending, whether it's a cell phone, whether it's a laptop. I mean, we start there.
Advances.
Definitely. So then, in terms of the government processes, well, they use the GEPF and the Pensions Act, where then there's a different process they use where they wouldn't pay you until such time you agree to paying that matter. So in this particular matter, it was an amicable situation where we said, instead of keeping the money, I mean, it was December, and let's release certain money, but keep this one until we resolve this particular matter. And I must say, I'm not requesting a legal opinion. It's the chief executive officer who is requesting that opinion from the state attorney. That is required in terms of the treasury regulations, because it says where the chief executive officer is not sure who to claim that money from, then the state attorney should come in. So I know there's been called to say I'm going all out to so that is a process which must take place, and it's state payers' money. We can't just deal with it as if it's just I mean, that money is a lot of money, so we need to make sure that is
okay. Now,
paid.
You and I went to Teflop University. We used to eat imana and all sorts of things. We didn't have money. Those students at VF and Madiba and all those other residences still do not have money. They'll probably be joining protests on fees must fall and all that. What can ordinary South Africans like those expect and get from you?
As an Office of the Public Protector, in terms of our legislation, we also can do mediation, process, conciliation process. I've engaged with several other interested parties who were saying they would want the Public Protector to assist. I think my predecessor started that process with some students. So we are there, and even to government, we are available to make sure that we come to a conciliated process or mediated process where we don't engage in strikes and violent strikes, but then we find an amicable solution to that particular matter. So I think there were instances now where some of the parents called about the NSFAS to say we've applied for NSFAS and our children were social grant recipients, but now the university wants a registration fee. One had to intervene and engage the Minister of Education to say the institutions should be considerate to this kind of issues and not expect parents to pay 6,000 to 12,000 registration fee. Yeah.
Busisiwe Mkhwebane, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
That was question time for today. A big thank you to my guests and to you for watching the show. From me and the rest of the crew, I have a